Due to the difficulty of game plan and execution, I do believe Devil Jin deserves to be stronger. But I'm also afraid of a situation where they actually buff, you know, jab or down for the 1, down for the 1-2, and suddenly they fix these problems and Devil Jin becomes a monster. He got extremely unfair treatment so far in balance patches. To the point where it's turned into a meme, and rightfully so. Very unfair what's happened to the character. What's up guys, TheMainManSWE here, or is it MustacheManSWE? Same thing. Hope you're all doing awesome as always. I get a lot of requests every single day to talk a little bit about Devil Jin. I think he's the character people get the most emotional about. I feel like most people feel he should be stronger because he's a very technical character. He is a character for experts. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't do well in ranked. Most of you lose to Devil Jin all the time. He has the highest win rate out of the Mishimas. Why is this? Well, it's because he has Samsara, he has back 3, he has parry, he has charge up punch. He's got like super cheesy stuff if your opponent is a beginner or an intermediate. As soon as you climb the ranks and you get to like Tekken God rank and you're going up against high level players or competitive players, they don't let you get away with shit like this. They wait, they're patient, and then they launch you every single time. Highly effective character against beginner and intermediate, and this is where you find the majority of players, and hence his win-loss ratio is very strong. The higher up you go, the more poorly this character performs, and this is why he's nowhere to be seen in competitive play. And that's why people meme all the time, oh, we're gonna nerf Devil Jin for Season 2. And then people ask me, what do you want to see on this character? First, let's just explain his problems. This character released with Tekken 5 and he was S tier. And then he was S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier for like 15 years. For Tekken 7, he was S tier for pretty much the entire duration up until season, was it season 4.5? But he went from S tier to mid tier. They gutted his damage and his neutral. Upward 4 used to knock down into a guaranteed back 4, but they removed that. The character took big hits. He used to always be pretty much a more all-round Kazuya and a stronger Kazuya. He would 50-50 you, and then he would have access to a very strong jab, very strong poking, evasiveness, parry, perfect throw game, can I do it? And high damage. He was like very all-round, could do anything, and could arguably 50-50 better than Kazuya. There was never a reason to play Kazuya in competitive play. For Tekken 8, the developers go, he needs a new identity, he needs to be unique, he needs to do something different, and suddenly this stuff happens, right? He shackles from a million miles away, tracks like crazy, he's got Morning Crow into all kinds of fucking things. He's got a crazy charge up punch, stuff like this is happening. In this game, they're doubling down on gimmick utility. Being very gimmicky, punishing people for pressing into him. If you don't have a lot of patience, Devil Jin blows you up, right? And if you don't know how to deal with charge up punch, it might as well be the best move in the game, right? And they nerfed so much about him. Like his jab went from one of the best to like garbage. His down for the 1, absolute dumpster garbage. And also his neutral is crap compared to a lot of neutrals in this game. Shackle is a good move. It tracks a lot, it's got a lot of reach. All-on block turns into a mix-up that's a little bit risky for Devil Jin. If you go for the 1 option, they can float you out of the air with a jab. Demon Paw is the weakest Mishima Demon Paw, used to be much better. Poor reach, poor tracking. Upward 4, poor tracking, poor reach, can get floated out of it by a jab. Forward 4, no tracking. The neutral is just high committal like Heihachi. It's tough to play as neutral. That's the backstory. And now to the question, do I want to see him get buffed? It's a very tricky question because in Tekken 8, in my opinion, I've said this a million times, there's no such thing as low tier in this game. That was Tekken 7 and prior games. The worst your character is in this game, in my opinion, is mediocre. It's just that, why are you gonna play Devil Jin when Dragunov exists? Or Feng Wei, or Nina, or Yoshi, or his big brother, Jin? Jin is a wanker, but holy shit is he stronger than his alter ego. Why would you play Devil Jin over Jin? It literally makes no sense. Devil Jin is harder to play and has 10% of Jin's strength. It just makes no sense whatsoever. And again, this is where I hope Season 2 fixes things. But the most important thing they can do with Season 2 is nerf. Nerf, 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 nerf. I don't... Nerf. I'm a piggy. I don't believe too much in buffing the characters. And that includes Devil Jin, because he still has bullshit. But do I think they should buff him? Yeah, I think he does deserve a buff. The thing with Devil Jin, it's like all the other characters you would put in low tier in Tekken 8, I feel like you don't really need to buff them. They just need to see the, OP characters nerfed. But with Devil Jin, there's the argument of like, he's so difficult. Like, he's so execution demanding. Game plan is tough as well. Like, you've got incredible highs, you've got incredible lows, and your highs include a perfect throw game. It's just that your mids are so dumpster. But strong highs and lows, it's a pretty fucked up game plan. It's hard to execute this game plan. And he's so option selected as well, by like step right duck. Due to the difficulty of game plan and execution, I do believe Devil Jin deserves to be stronger. But I'm also afraid of a situation where they actually buff, jab or down for the one, down for the 1-2, and suddenly they fix these problems and Devil Jin becomes a monster. And we know everyone is getting a new move. God knows what we're going to give Devil Jin, right? So it is tricky, but I do agree you need to buff a character. One buff I want to see is the very unfortunate things that happened to the character with the release of Tekken 8. Due to this Devil Jin being so new and people getting familiar with the very new moveset, even pro players assumed he was going to be broken because everyone fell for the gimmick utility. Everyone was like, oh my god, he's so fucking OP. Everyone ate this shit. Oh my god, tech roll, a million damage. And people actually assumed he was like top 5. But then turns out he was never as strong as people thought. All people needed was some time to get accustomed to new animations and moveset and learn how to deal with the moveset. And then it's like, oh, okay, he's not even top tier. But people were so vocal on social media, complaining about him all the time, that Devil Jin got a ton of nerfs that were completely unjustified. Although, obviously one that was justified was the old Psycho Crusher. It would full screen, wouldn't it? Like from here. And it was homing. There was nothing you could do. So basically when he's in heat, he's holding a gun to your ball sack and you don't do anything because he can at any point pull the trigger, right? So with Jin you're still in that situation, but Devil Jin used to be obscene in this regard. But outside of that, did he deserve to get the range on his Hell Sweep reduced? I don't think so. Why? Because his mids are so shit. Did he deserve to have the damage of his Hell Sweep gutted? I don't think so. Absolutely not. Did he deserve to have his Demon Paw gutted? I know they wanted to be fair and say, hey, we nerfed Jin's Demon Paw. So we gotta be fair, otherwise Jin mains complain, we gotta nerf that guy's Demon Paw as well. No, you don't have to do that. It was already bad. It was already the worst, and then they nerfed it. And now it's like, doesn't have a hitbox. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has a hitbox, I'm exaggerating, but this Demon Paw is extremely lackluster. Poor tracking, poor reach, poor hitbox. A start could be to revert every single nerf except for this one. They also nerfed Morning Crow 1. They toned down damage and tracking. I'm not sure you had to do that. They also removed Ferrari tech. I don't know if you guys remember, but you could do some cool setups with this, where he flies. I don't remember exactly how to do this. He would do this, and then you would do post combo ender. You would fly in with Morning Crow 2-2, and you would 180 around them, so you would come up their ass after the tech roll and get this, or of course launch. Like, tech traps like that are very interesting. And wasn't that the whole point of a new Devil Jin? Tricky business, tricky utility, rather than being another fundamental Mishima character? So if that's the new direction with the character and his new identity, why do you remove such an interesting and unique tech trap that only he could do, considering he's the only character with this dash-in Morning Crow business? So that's something I don't understand. That made the character interesting. And the counterplay was there. The counterplay was stay on the ground, right? So in my opinion, revert all the nerfs except for the heat smash, and then when it comes to buffing the character, I would yet again choose to do tricky utility. I would not go back to the old Devil Jin, which would mean buff jab, buff down for 1, buff down for 1-2, to yet again give him very strong fundamental utility, like buff his poking, or God forbid, you know, they do something to up for 4. They're like, okay, it's not a heat engager anymore, and they yet again give it like a knockdown. Or, you know, they go, oh, back 4 should knock down on normal hits. Early Tekken 7 had that. This would just wall splat on normal hit. Knock down on normal hit. I hope they don't do that, because they are doing interesting things with the character. It's just that he got extremely unfair treatment so far in balance patches. To the point where it's turned into a meme, and rightfully so. Very unfair what's happened to the character. But so yeah, those are my thoughts on Devil Jin, and I am hoping that... I mean, I'm just gonna laugh if I see more nerfs in the Season 2 patch notes. I'm gonna laugh. A reduced damage on Hell Sweep was too much. Does 10 damage now instead of 16. I'm just gonna laugh. Oh well, but so now you know my thoughts. Hoping for some buffs, nothing too crazy. Keep going with the new identity, tricky utility. Don't give him strong poking again. That was boring. This is more interesting in my opinion. Let's have a great day, everyone. Take care.